how long have you been writing songs? I will say the one song that sticks out the most that I wrote in 3rd grade was called the Cheese Song. Again, a ton of you asked me about how to get through writer's block. How do you express your feelings but also not give away too many details in songs? I don't know how to answer that because I do give away too many details in songs. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Nena. It's been a while since I've done that intro, and might I say I am a little rusty, but here I am back in front of the camera. I even have a new cup now. But it has been about a month that I have taken off posting from this channel, and I'm so excited to be back with you guys. I missed you guys. I just want to thank you guys for being here still and sending me so many nice comments and messages and DMs on Instagram. During my time off, I was really just thinking about where I want to go with this channel, what content I want to create, and I'm still working on that, but I thought a first good video back would be a songwriting Q&A because it's been a while since we've talked about songwriting. And so I asked you guys on my Instagram as well as my YouTube community page here to send in any questions you guys have about songwriting, the process, my journey, anything like that. And I screenshotted a bunch of them, and so we're just gonna go through and I'm gonna answer them to the best of my ability. I will still be doing tutorials on this channel, but you might see some new and different things coming up every now and then as I'm trying to grow with my content and try to create new things for you guys to watch. So as always, just leave a comment down below if there's a video you want me to create and I'll go through those. So I went through all of the questions and kind of saw similar themes. Some of you asked the same questions, some of you asked questions that kind of related to each other, so I kind of made a list of like 6 major points that I can go through here with the questions. But the first one's gonna be kind of like about me and when did I start writing, what inspired me to get writing, how long have you been writing songs? It's kind of funny because when I was super young, I actually started writing songs when I was like maybe in 2nd or 3rd grade. They weren't good, obviously, but for some reason I just had this urge to like write songs. I have the, oh my gosh, maybe I should pull that out. It's the funniest thing ever. I had this Hannah Montana paper folder and it had all of the songs that I wrote in it. Is it down here? Okay, I'm actually so sad I cannot find where it is. This is gonna bug me so much. Yeah, I'm having a really hard time finding it, but basically I just wrote these songs. They were not good at all. I didn't know how to play guitar at the time, so they didn't really have chords, and when I did learn how to play guitar, it was just like 2 chords over and over and over again, and the songs were super simple. The rhymes didn't make sense at all. I will say the one song that sticks out the most that I wrote in 3rd grade was called the Cheese Song. I was absolutely obsessed with cheese and I decided to write a song about it. I will not sing it for you guys, but let me know if you guys want me to go through the songs that I wrote when I was 8 and 9 years old because they are very interesting. But I kind of got made fun of from my friends for trying to write songs, as well as I couldn't really play the guitar yet, so I just stopped doing it. And then I think when I actually started writing songs, I was like 15 or 16 in high school. By this point, I already knew how to play guitar. I'd been playing for quite a while, and I knew all the basic chords and strumming and everything. I think I was just at the point of high school where I didn't know how to like express my feelings, you know what I mean? So I decided, I don't even remember consciously making the choice to like, let's sit down and write a song. It was like super late on a school night. I grabbed my guitar and I just started strumming 4 chords over and over again. I pulled out my voice memos app on my phone and just pressed record and just recorded whatever came out of my mouth, and definitely not all of it was good, but I remember listening back to it and being like, whoa, this is kind of how you write a song. Like, you play the 4 chords, you have like a melody. That was the first time I wrote like a melody. From there, I just like, that's all I wanted to do was start writing songs. As far as what inspired me to write songs, I would say that was when I really started getting into Taylor Swift. So obviously Taylor Swift was a huge reason, but I also think I just needed another outlet to express myself. moving into kind of like the next thing would be like, where do you get inspiration to write songs? I got quite a few questions about how I find inspiration, and it's not always gonna be there, you know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna be completely inspired all the time to write, and we'll get to writer's block in a second, but for me, I like to write about my life and, just kind of write what happens, how I'm feeling about certain things. I usually come up with like an idea for a song, and it's like, I want to write a song about growing up, moving away from your hometown, or moving back to your hometown. You kind of have like an idea of how you want the song to be. Sometimes it works like that. Other times you come up with like one single line and you're like, okay, I want to write a song around this line that feels like this. I write a lot of songs about me, obviously, and that's just the easiest thing to write about. But in times where I don't have a lot of feelings happening, or if I'm not really like going through a lot, or just things are very mundane, it's really hard to find inspiration in the ordinary day-to-day life if nothing is going on. So sometimes, and one of my favorite things to do is kind of like take an experience that one of my friends is having, or you take experience from watching movies or reading books, just external experiences, and you can write a song about that. And that's a really good skill to develop, being able to put yourself in someone else's shoes and kind of explain how they're feeling in lyrics and melody, everything. And so a lot of the times when my friends are going through something and they're like ranting to me or they're telling me about it, I'm like, okay, let's write a song. I'll ask them about how they feel about it, what they want from their situation, or little details like specific moments, scenes. From that, you're able to create a song from someone else's perspective. And when I was starting out songwriting, I didn't really have anything about me to write about in terms of like love, relationships, everything. I was like literally just 15 and 16, and I went to an all-girls school, so boys weren't really on the mind. So I wrote a lot of songs about friendships and loss and not fitting in. And so that fits in with that kind of part of my life. When my friends were having problems with relationships and boys and love or whatever, I would write about that from their perspective. A lot of the times as well, I just made up scenarios, and there's no right way to write a song. It's like writing a book. Most books are works of fiction in some sense, but I feel like every work of fiction has some kind of truth behind it, They got that character inspiration from somewhere. They got that setting from a place they went to once. They have these personality traits they see in their, friend or something. When it comes to inspiration, it is actually all around you. It's just hard to find sometimes when it's not about you, and it's harder to put yourself in someone else's shoes. But I find that it's like really cool if you can put into words what someone else is feeling, even though you yourself aren't going through that. That was a really long-winded answer to inspiration, but if you are just looking to be inspired to write, I recommend either like reading a book, watching movies, listening to music is a huge one, especially if you've been writing the same sounding songs over and over again. You feel like they all sound the same. Try to listen to a genre that doesn't sound like the music you write and see if that helps you out there. So there's so many ways, there's so many times I've been inspired just by other people's art. And also, you don't have to like be in a relationship or be talking to someone in order to write about love or anything like that. Of course, there's kind of like a balance between writing what you've been through and what someone else has been through and what you think something might be, but it's your writing, so literally write whatever you want to write. I got so many questions about this specific thing, and they were all almost identical, and that's, do you find that you typically write the lyrics first or the music? Do you start with lyrics? Do you start with chords? Do you find, where do you start, essentially? And so this little section of the video is going to be kind of about structure, songwriting structure, and basically where to start, because sometimes that's the hardest part. It's like you got your piece of paper, you got your guitar, and you're like, okay, what do I do first? And the answer to this is different for every single person, and honestly, it is different every single time. And I think I've said this before, but truly for me, like it just depends on the day. Sometimes I will have one line, one lyric that just sits in the notes app of my phone for months, even years, and then I will come back to it and be like, okay, I want to write a song based on just this one line. There's no melody to it yet. It's just this line. I will say for me, more often than not, I start with words because I'm constantly typing lyrics and stuff into my notes app of my phone. But sometimes I will get kind of like a melody in my head, and usually it's just like when I'm out and about, walking in public with my friends, at dinner, like just at any time of the day, when I'm going to sleep. When I come up with a melody, it usually has words attached to it. A lot of the times I end up changing the words a little bit or whatever, but I'll just be like, immediately go to my voice memos in my phone and just kind of like sing it or like hum it into my phone, like like I literally did that yesterday. There was no words to it. I was just like humming this melody into my phone. It's like I'll go back and listen to it and I'm either like, oh, that's like pretty good, or I'll be like, what even is this? This doesn't make any sense at all. But essentially just know that there's no right way to start doing it at all. You just kind of go for it. Don't let that impede you from starting your songwriting journey at all. But I found for me the easiest thing to start with is words for just kind of like inspiration. Once I know that I want to sit down and write this specific song, I'll get my guitar. I have it right here. I'll just kind of decide what mood I'm going for. If it's kind of like a happy song, if it's like a sad, angry, like whatever mood the song is, kind of depends on what chords I use and what chord progression order that I'm playing them in. And so I would say I have like two go-to chord progressions that I use, and they're very similar to Taylor Swift. They're really great for beginners who are just trying to get started with songwriting. Of course, I mostly write songs on guitar. Sometimes I write them on piano, but even when I do write them on piano, I'm using this same like chord progression essentially. I usually capo 4 or 5 because I have like a higher voice. It's just better for my singing to have it in this key. But my first favorite chord progression for songwriting is C, G sus4, A minor, and F. Now, depending on the song, that's just kind of like the basic order. But depending on the melody and the song, I change the order of those chords. So if I want it to be like a sad or a moody song, I will start in the minor. So I'd have A minor. If I want it to be a little bit happier, maybe I'll start with F. And so that kind of sounds a little bit brighter. There's not really a method to it though. I really don't spend much time thinking about the chord progression because this is just a great one that fits with so many different melodies. And then the second chord progression I always go to is G, D, E minor, and then C at 9. My favorite, like one of my favorite chord progressions ever. So basically what I'm saying is just choose 4 chords. If you're a beginner, like that's pretty much the easiest way to go. So you could just choose 4 chords or 3 or even 2 chords to do your chord progression. I would just play those over and over and over again until I kind of get a feel for the beat, how I think I want the song to sound. The first song I wrote, I think I had G, C at 9, E minor, and D. And I kept playing those 4 chords over and over again. I played them like full measures. You just start singing random things, press record, and just see what happens. But I do have something that might help you guys if you're a super beginner and you just need a little bit more structure. So for me, when I started out, what I like to do when I'm writing is I like these spiral notebooks because they sit flat here. And what I do is I open it straight up like this. And I will start writing here, and I will use both pages to write the song. So I'll put, verse 1, I'll start writing that here, and then chorus. And so I can see it all in front of me. I don't have to like flip pages. And I always know I'm gonna write the bridge on this side. And so that's kind of how I started like actually like physically writing the songs. But recently I created this fun little worksheet, like a little songwriting guide that I put on my Etsy shop. And so the first page I have right here is ideas and concepts. So you kind of just write, ideas for the song that you have, feelings you have about it. So this is just like an example that I filled out. So I have relationships change with the season, wrong place, right time. Just little like things that I would like to think about and write about. And then this box has words. So this is just like words I like, words that I'm associating with this song. And so I have like turbulent, afterthought, magnetic, just like words that I'm thinking about when I'm, trying to write this song. And then on this box I have sensory details, which I really like writing with sensory details, meaning like the air was warm, it was raining, or like cold winter night. I have like, the color of the sky, the color of someone's eyes, very sensory, concrete details. So when someone's hearing the song, they can like, picture it in their mind. And then on this box, I have chord progressions that might work. So I have like C, G, A minor, F, G, D, A minor, C. Chord progressions I want to try out with the song. So this is kind of like a brainstorming page, which I like. I love brainstorming and like writing down all my thoughts. So I used to just kind of like scribble all over a piece of paper. This gives it a little bit more structure. So you don't have to do this, but sometimes it's helpful if you're a beginner. And then the other two pages are like little like structure for the song. And of course, songs don't need a set structure, but when you're starting out, it is kind of helpful. So we have like song title, written by. And then over here, you could put the date that you wrote it and the time. I like to know and remember like when exactly I wrote it. If you're using a capo, you can put which one, chord progression, and then the mood. So it could be like angsty, angry, betrayal, sad, happy, hopeful, inspiring, like whatever, mood your song is. And then this is just your typical song structure here. So I have verse 1, pre-chorus, and then we have the chorus. And then on the second page, we have verse 2, pre-chorus, and then bridge. And then at the end, I have more space in case you want to do an alternate chorus or you have extra lines you don't know where to put. You can just put them there. But this little songwriting guide is helpful if you're a beginner to songwriting and need a little bit more room to brainstorm and stuff. I'll link that down below if you guys are interested. So now I'm going to talk about writer's block. And again, a ton of you asked me about how to get through writer's block. What can I do if I start a song and I can't finish it? You're just creatively blocked. And if anyone knows how that is, I do, because I feel like I get into these like every now and then I get into these like ruts where I really just cannot write a song. Actually, in one of those right now because I literally haven't written a song since Christmas and it's been like 2 months. I have all these little bits and pieces and I have no idea how to string together a line to make, a melody. And it's really frustrating sometimes. And it can be mental. It can just be because you're not feeling inspired, and that's fine. You don't have to put pressure on yourself to write something if it's just like you're forcing yourself to. The one thing that helps me get out of writer's block is to not write songs. And that would be to write in a journal or to just write poetry or type in my notes app. Write without the pressure of it sounding like a lyric. Just write what you're feeling, thinking. And sometimes you'll end up writing something and you're like, oh, this is what I need to write a song about. And every time I get into one of those ruts, I know that I need to do something different, because you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result. You have to change something. So for me, I think this week what I'm gonna do is film my whole process of trying to get through the writer's block, because I know there's so many songs I want to write, I just for some reason can't. And so I feel like I'm gonna really sit down and try to figure out how I can get through it and write these songs and move on so that I can keep creating new songs and everything. So stay tuned for that video. But I don't have a concrete answer for you to try to get out of writer's block. You just have to try to find what helps you become inspired, whether that's going to the park, whether that's journaling, whether that's watching a movie that's gonna move you emotionally. Talk to your friends. I love talking to my friends, talking through it, because then they kind of sometimes can see something you don't. Another thing I like to do is I like to go back and read my old journals. I like to go back and listen to my old songs, look at my old lyrics, kind of find inspiration through yourself, because you're like, if I can write that, there's got to be something more, you know? I myself am still figuring out writer's block. It is tough and it's frustrating, but sometimes you just have to accept it and know that it's not forever, it's just in this period of time, so don't be too hard on yourself. Don't feel so pressured to like create something when the inspiration is just not quite there. Okay, this video is getting pretty long, but I'm just gonna go through and answer a bunch of miscellaneous questions here. Have you ever co-written a song? Yes. I've co-written a song with quite a few people. My friend Danica is one of my favorite people to write with, and we need to write a song soon because it's been quite a while, but some of my favorite songs I've ever written have been with her. I would say a lot of my friends end up co-writing songs with me. My best friend Lauren, love writing songs with her, but it's funny because I'll just be like, let's write a song when we're just kind of hanging out, and I'll start playing some chords and they're just kind of throwing out feelings and like, I feel like this whenever he does this, or whenever I'm doing this, and then I'll be like, okay, and then I kind of like put it into the lyrics for them. It helps me to get different perspectives on things and, you know, things I just wouldn't think about if I was writing it on my own. This question is funny because it says, how do you express your feelings but also not give away too many details in songs? I don't know how to answer that because I do give away too many details in songs. And I write usually exactly how I'm feeling, because sometimes I will like be recording and then I'll just sing something and I'm like, do I really feel like that? Like that was a lot. So usually when I'm writing songs, it's like the truest form of my opinion and exactly how I'm feeling, more so than I could ever say out loud to anybody. So yeah, I think it's honestly, if you want to change a couple details, so if the situation calls for it, yes, but like for me, I like to write the truth, and the truth is in the details, baby. I got a couple questions like, do you cringe at your old songs? Yes, I do. Like how do I not cringe? I do. It's okay. Like not everything you're gonna write is gonna be good. And that's why I like to make those videos on my channel reacting to my songwriting, because I wanna show you guys how much you can grow in your songwriting, and you're not always gonna write good songs, and it's all part of the process and learning. I think it's funny, honestly. It's cringy, but it's funny. A couple of people asked what's my favorite song that I've written, or what song am I most proud of, and that's a tough one. There's a few. So I think first would be the song I wrote in high school called Misunderstood, and that song, I remember finishing it and being like, this is exactly how I feel. You know, sometimes it's really hard to put exactly how you feel without leaving anything out into a song. So I think that one I was like really happy with. And then most recently I wrote a song called Orion, and that was kind of the same situation. It had taken me like a year to write that song because I literally had no idea how to feel about a certain thing. And when I finished it, I was like, yes. This is a really good question. She asked, I'd like to know what you do when you feel like you can't find the words to what you want to say. Do you give up on the idea or try to look for words on Google? LOL. The only time I ever turn to the internet is when I am obsessed with a line and I don't want to change it, but I can't find a rhyme. Very few times I will look up to see if there's another word to rhyme with it that I can work into the song. I never write around a rhyme. As far as not finding the right words, that is really tough sometimes. Sometimes I will be able to write a verse or like just a part of the song, a chorus or something, and then I'll put it down for a while and let it sit there, really think about what I want the song to be from the outside. I like to take a step back and I'm like to ask myself, what is this song really about before I continue? And sometimes that helps me find the right words. But I feel like we do get caught up in trying to find the perfect words to explain something when, you know, the point is there's not, and that's why we're trying to write it to figure it out. And one of my favorite quotes, I pulled it up here, from Joan Didion about writing, is that I write entirely to find out what I'm thinking, what I'm looking at, what I see, and what it means, what I want and what I fear. You don't really know how you feel about something until you write it down, and then you read it and you're like, that's how I feel about something. Withholding yourself from writing something and you can't find the right words, so you can't write it. For me, I kind of have this thing now where I just write whatever. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. You just have to keep reading it, and then once you read it and you're like, maybe this is how I feel, or you're like, that's not really how I feel, but now I know that I feel this way. So again, there's not like a right way to write how you feel. Someone asked if I could demo one of my favorite songs, so this is what we're gonna end on today. So I'll demo Misunderstood, and then I'll give you a little bit of the other song. Every word I say is wrong, every road I take is long, everything I thought was good, I just end up misunderstood, trying to figure out what's right, the best way to win this fight, not sure if I should, I just end up misunderstood. Now I'll just play you the chorus from Orion. I'm a mess, you don't want that, but you tried dancing in my storm, off the rails and full on train wreck. I couldn't hurt you anymore, you said you needed me, but I was halfway out the door, and I guess we always knew that you loved me more. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys want me to film a part 2 to this video, let me know. It's so good to be back hanging out with you guys. I'm really excited for what's to come here, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye! Every road I take is long. Wait, what is it? Every word I say is wrong. Yeah.